Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're tackling something that is, well, it's a genuinely pivotal moment in the educational journey. We're calling it the academic level up. This is for you, the international student who has, successfully navigated the gauntlet of exams like IELTS or TOEFL.
Right. You've proven your competence. You've got the certificate.
Exactly. You think, mission accomplished, I'm ready.
And then the surprise hits.
Right.
You walk into your first seminar, you get that first assignment, and suddenly the language, the expectations, everything feels completely different from what you practiced for.
It is such a shock. It's the shock of realizing that the English you mastered for, say, daily communication or even describing a chart,
It's just not the same.
it's not the specialized language of a research university. Our sources put this perfectly, actually.
Oh, the football analogy.
Yes. The transition is like learning the rules of football and then realizing you've been dropped into a professional chess tournament.
It's such a great way to put it. The skills are, vaguely transferable, but the game itself, the entire objective, is new.
And that's because the core objective shifts from just proficiency.
To intellectual contribution. General English asks, can you communicate?
Can you navigate?
Exactly. But academic English asks something much deeper. It asks, can you use language as a tool for critical thought?
Can you handle these big abstract ideas?
And most importantly, can you join an existing scholarly conversation?
That distinction, communication versus joining a conversation, that is the absolute mission of this deep dive today. We're here to really unpack this massive cultural and linguistic shift for you.
And what we found in the sources is that this isn't just about, memorizing a bigger vocabulary list.
No.
It requires a complete reorganization of your identity as a learner.
Let's unpack that cultural shift first then, because if you don't understand that your job description has changed, none of the language stuff will make sense.
That's a great place to start. In many educational systems, the role of a good student is to be a consumer of facts.
You absorb information, right?
You absorb it, you memorize it, you reproduce it faithfully on an exam. The authority is the textbook or the teacher.
But the moment you step onto a university campus in this sort of global academic community, that whole assumption gets thrown out.
Completely replaced.
You are no longer just a student. Your new title, your new role is junior researcher.
And that title carries real intellectual weight. Practically speaking, it means your whole responsibility shifts.
From just taking in information
to generating new insights. You have to move from being a consumer to becoming a producer of knowledge.
or at least a producer of a really solid evidence-based argument.
Exactly.
That sounds like a lot of pressure. I mean, especially when English is your second language. Am I supposed to invent a new theory by Tuesday?
No, not at all. It's about intellectual ownership. Your job isn't to start from nothing. Your job is to study the established research of others. And then strategically use those findings, the data, the theories, as evidence to support your own argument.
So the argument is mine, but I'm building it with the intellectual bricks that the academic community has already made.
That's the perfect way to phrase it.
Yeah.
The university is training you to contribute to knowledge, not just access it.
And that shift from passively learning what to critically analyzing how and why, that changes everything.
It changes how you read, it changes how you write.
Which brings us to the next big thing. This need for your own argument using rigorous evidence is exactly why the language has to change. Because you're now dealing with these complex, nuanced ideas. Your language can't be sloppy, it can't be general, it has to be precise.
And this is where those academic synonyms stop feeling like just pretentious vocabulary.
Right.
They become functional. They're necessary. Think about why we use a specific term. In a normal conversation, we might say students are getting stressed.
Sure.
But in a research paper, we have to be specific. Are we talking about undergraduates, postgraduate candidates, early career researchers?
Because that specificity narrows the scope of what you're claiming. If I'm studying a phenomenon, I need to know exactly who I'm studying.
Precisely. The word student is just too broad.
And we see this everywhere. You might say social media, but a scholarly paper would probably use online platforms.
Or digital communication networks. And that's critical because one researcher might be studying Instagram's algorithm.
While another is analyzing network connections on LinkedIn.
Right. Using a broader term like online platforms keeps the academic discussion precise without being too narrow.
And what about something like happiness? You can't just write a paper arguing that one group is happier.
No, you can't. You have to define your terms. You have to quantify the variable. You talk about psychological well-being or life satisfaction scores.
So that another researcher could, in theory, replicate your study or at least understand the exact variables you worked with.
It's the difference between describing a feeling and defining an operational variable. It's absolutely essential.
But I wonder, for a junior researcher coming from a culture that maybe values more expressive or even flowery prose, isn't there a risk that focusing so much on this kind of precision stifles creativity? How do you balance that with finding your own voice?
That's a fantastic question. And it's a common worry, but the goal isn't dryness. The goal is clarity.
Okay.
Your originality, your voice, it doesn't come from using simple words. It comes from the originality of your argument.
The way you connect the dots.
Yes, the novel ways you synthesize the evidence. The precise language is just the frame that ensures your new, brilliant idea is communicated without any ambiguity.
So the precision is the toolkit.
It is. The toolkit that lets your complex idea stand on its own 2 feet. You need that sophisticated toolkit because of the people you're talking to.
Your professors.
Exactly.
Which is another major cultural difference the sources pointed out. So many students notice their professors in higher ed just seem different from teachers back home.
Well, they are. They are active experts. They aren't just teaching staff. They are scholars who are actively shaping their own fields.
So they have to do their own research to even keep their jobs.
Yes, to maintain their position, their funding.
Yeah.
They have to be constantly publishing papers, going to conferences, debating new theories.
Which means the textbook they assign could literally be out of date by the end of the semester.
In some fast-moving fields, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're teaching you right at the edge of what is known.
So when they give you an assignment, they're not just checking if you read the book.
No. They are looking to see if you can think like they do.
By finding and using the most current peer-reviewed research.
Exactly.
And this gets us right into the peer review culture. This is often the biggest conceptual hurdle for students.
It's a critical point. We're all used to just Googling something, right? And all the information online kind of looks the same.
A well-designed blog can look more authoritative than a dense academic journal article.
It can. So why is relying on Wikipedia or a random blog not enough? It's because those sources completely bypass the quality control mechanism of peer review.
Can you just break down what peer review really means mechanically?
Of course. So academic culture says a source has to be written by an expert. That's the first step.
Right.
But then, and this is the key, that source, before it gets published, must be rigorously reviewed by other scholars in that exact same field.
People who are not connected to the author.
Right. It's often a blind process to ensure it's impartial. These other expert brains scrutinize everything, the methodology, the data, the conclusion.
It's like an intellectual trial by fire.
It really is. A paper can be sent back for major revisions 2 or 3 times, or it could be rejected outright.
And this whole process is what ensures that the evidence you're citing in your paper is reliable and accepted by the community of experts.
The community you are now trying to join.
So this changes where you even look for information. You have to move away from Google.
And move toward your university's library databases, JSTOR, Web of Science, things like that. The library is your gateway to validated knowledge.
So when a course guide says, understand the assignment or identify your research question,
It's not just administrative advice.
it's asking you to act like a scientist or a scholar from day one.
Yes, you're being asked to tackle a question where the answer isn't simple, and then use validated evidence to build your case.
This sounds like a lot of responsibility. And it is. You aren't just writing an essay anymore.
You're building a case.
A case using evidence that has to stand up to the scrutiny of your professor, who is an active expert in the field.
It can feel overwhelming. But fortunately, the sources give us a really clear structure for this, a kind of formula.
A formula for academic writing.
It's beautifully straightforward once you get your head around the new role. It's simply your ideas plus evidence from sources, academic writing.
That formula is powerful. But let's break down that plus sign. What does that actually mean? It's not just dropping quotes next to my opinions, is it?
No, absolutely not. That plus represents synthesis, not summary.
What's the difference?
Summary is just telling me what source A said and what source B said.
A book report.
Exactly. Synthesis is linking source A and source B together to create a brand new insight. It's the intellectual work of combining different pieces of evidence to build your unique case.
Ah, so the different parts of an academic paper, The introduction, the literature review, those are just the frames that help you organize that synthesis.
Precisely. Your literature review isn't just a list of books you read.
It's you showing the reader you understand the current conversation.
Identifying where the gaps in that conversation are, and then stating clearly how your research is going to help fill one of those gaps.
That's the moment the junior researcher really steps forward.
It is. It's no longer about proving what you know. It's about proving how you can contribute to what is becoming known.
And that really is the whole goal here, the whole transition.
Spot on. You are moving from being a student who was learning about the world to becoming a member of a community that is actively learning the language of research to understand the world.
Just like your professors are doing every single day.
It's a complete shift in your intellectual identity.
Yeah.
And it's not just a language test you have to pass. It is a genuinely exciting new way of thinking.
A new way of generating knowledge.
Which leaves you with a real opportunity. If academic English is the language of evidence and conversation, what specific debate in your field are you most excited to research and contribute to first, now that you know you are officially a junior researcher?
That is the question to mull over as you start this really rigorous but ultimately very rewarding new journey.